Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into a world that seems like a contradiction in terms luxury prisons for the ultra-rich. Now I know what you're thinking. Prison is supposed to be a punishment, a deterrent. But for a select few, with deep pockets and even deeper connections, prison can be more like a... well, you'll see. We're going to be looking at some of the most eyebrow-raising cases, from Indonesia to Norway, where inmates have enjoyed amenities most of us can only dream of. Honestly, it's enough to make you wonder if you're watching a documentary about prison or a travel show about boutique hotels. Stick around as we try to understand how such a system can exist, the ethics of it all, and what it says about justice and privilege in the 21st century. Our first stop takes us to Indonesia, where we meet Arita Suriana, a businesswoman who seemed to have it all: wealth, influence, and, for a time, a prison cell that looked more like a luxury hotel suite.
You see, I was convicted of corruption, a crime that, on paper at least, carried a hefty sentence. But it seemed money, as it often does, talked. My cell was the epitome of five-star incarceration. We're talking a king-sized bed, a flat-screen TV bigger than my first apartment, a private bathroom, and not just one, but 3 maids at my beck and call.
Now, you can imagine the reaction when news of Arita's lavish prison lifestyle got out. The public was outraged, and rightly so. While ordinary inmates were crammed into overcrowded cells, Arita was living the high life. The outcry was deafening, and the authorities, facing mounting pressure, had no choice but to act. Arita's gilded cage was dismantled, her entourage of maids dismissed, and she was transferred to a less salubrious facility. From the tropical climes of Indonesia, we travel north to Norway, a country often lauded for its progressive approach to, well, just about everything. And it seems prison is no exception. On a picturesque island, we find Bastoy Prison, a minimum security facility that's more akin to a holiday camp than a place of punishment. Forget imposing walls and barbed wire fences. Bastoy greets its inmates with open fields, rolling hills, and stunning views of the Norwegian fjords.
Inmates live in shared apartments, complete with kitchens and bathrooms. And they're actually given a monthly allowance to spend at the prison shop. And if that wasn't enough to make you question everything you thought you knew about prison, Bastoy offers a range of recreational activities, from swimming and fishing to tennis and horseback riding.
Now, I'm all for rehabilitation, but this does seem like pushing the boundaries a bit, don't you think? I mean, where's the deterrent? It's a question that sparked heated debate, not just in Norway, but around the world. Is this the future of incarceration, or a misguided experiment in leniency? Back in Indonesia now, a country where the gap between the haves and the have-nots is stark, to say the least. And nowhere is this disparity more evident than within the walls of Senang Prison. It was here that we encountered the story of Tommy Sahar, a billionaire playboy used to a life of luxury and excess.
So when I found myself on the wrong side of the law, facing a lengthy prison sentence, you'd think I'd have to adjust to a somewhat less lavish lifestyle. Well, think again. You see, being me, I managed to secure myself a rather comfortable setup, even by Indonesian prison standards. My air-conditioned cell boasted a garden view, a far cry from the cramped and sweltering conditions endured by most inmates.
News of Tommy's extravagant prison life spread like wildfire, igniting a firestorm of controversy. People were outraged, and rightly so. The public outcry eventually forced the authorities to take action, and Tommy's days of high-flying prison breaks came to an end. His helicopter privileges were revoked, and he was transferred to a less accommodating facility. But the question lingered: how could such blatant inequality exist within a system that's supposed to be blind to wealth and status? Chapter 4: The Humane Approach Inside Halden Prison. Next, we journey back to Scandinavia, this time to Norway's Halden Prison, a maximum security facility that's been dubbed the world's most humane prison. Norwegian prison official. Now, I've seen my fair share of prisons, and humane isn't usually the first word that springs to mind. But Halden, I have to admit, is different. For starters, the cells are, well, they're not really cells in the traditional sense. They're more like, dare I say it, student dorm rooms. Norwegian prison official, each inmate has their own private space, complete with a mini fridge, a flat-screen TV, and get this, no bars on the windows. The emphasis here is on rehabilitation, on providing inmates with the opportunity to turn their lives around. There are workshops, educational programs, even a recording studio where inmates can express themselves through music. Norwegian prison official, it's all about empowering them, giving them a sense of purpose, and preparing them for life on the outside. And you know what? It seems to be working. Norway has one of the lowest recidivism rates in the world. Chapter 5. La Catedral, Pablo Escobar's prison paradise. Our journey takes us to the mountains of Colombia, to a story as audacious as it is infamous. La Catedral, a testament to the unchecked power of Pablo Escobar. Escobar, the notorious drug lord, had a unique arrangement with the authorities. He agreed to be incarcerated, but only if he could build his own prison. And build it he did, sparing no expense. La Catedral was a lavish mountaintop fortress. After he murdered 4 associates, the government stormed La Catedral. Escobar escaped into the surrounding mountains. Chapter 6. Family ties behind bars, Aran's prison. From the infamous La Catedral, we travel to Spain, to a prison that challenges our preconceived notions of what it means to serve time. This is Aran's prison, a facility that's unique for its focus on maintaining family bonds, even within the confines of prison walls. Now, I've visited prisons all over the world, and one of the most heartbreaking aspects is always the separation of families, particularly when it comes to young children. But Aran's prison takes a different approach. Here, families are encouraged to stay together, with special cells designed to accommodate parents and their young children. These aren't your typical cold, austere prison cells. They're brightly painted with cribs, toys, and even play areas. The idea is to create a sense of normalcy, to allow children to maintain a bond with their incarcerated parents during those crucial early years. There are communal areas where families can play together, eat together, and just be together. The children have access to childcare, education, and even a playground. It's all part of Spain's commitment to a more humane approach to incarceration, one that recognizes the importance of family ties, even within the walls of a prison. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect. Prison is still prison after all. Chapter 7. The Senator's Soiree, a party foul at La Picota. Our final stop takes us back to Colombia, to La Picota prison, where we encounter a story that's as much about political entitlement as it is about luxurious prison conditions. Enter Juan Carlos Martinez, a former senator who found himself on the wrong side of the law. Now, La Picota is no La Catedral. It's a tough, overcrowded prison, notorious for its harsh conditions. But even here, it seemed, privilege found a way to flourish. Martinez, used to a life of luxury and influence, managed to create a rather comfortable existence for himself within the prison walls. He had access to smuggled goods, enjoyed gourmet meals, and even hosted a lavish birthday party complete with live music, catered food, and a guest list that would make a socialite blush.
Needless to say, when news of my extravagant lifestyle leaked out, the public was outraged. The outcry was deafening, and the authorities, facing mounting pressure, had no choice but to act. My party days were over. I was stripped of my privileges and transferred to a less accommodating facility. A small victory perhaps, but a reminder that even within the walls of a prison, the battle for equality continues.
Chapter 8. Justice or Just Nice, inside Loben Justice Center. Our final stop takes us to Austria, a country known for its stunning scenery, its rich history, and perhaps surprisingly, its progressive approach to criminal justice. Here in the heart of Styria, we find the Loben Justice Center, a minimum security facility that challenges our very definition of what a prison should be. Forget imposing walls, barbed wire fences, and cramped, dingy cells. The Loben Justice Center is more akin to, well, a modern apartment complex. Inmates, all non-violent offenders, have their own private rooms, complete with private bathrooms, kitchenettes, and even balconies. The Loben Justice Center places a strong emphasis on rehabilitation, on providing inmates with the tools they need to turn their lives around. There's a state-of-the-art gym, a basketball court, workshops, educational programs, and even a library. The philosophy here is simple. Treat people with dignity and respect, even when they've made mistakes, and they're more likely to become productive members of society. It's a radical approach, some might say, but the numbers speak for themselves. Austria has a relatively low recidivism rate. Now, I know what you're thinking, is this really punishment? And it's a valid question. So, there you have it. A glimpse into the world of luxury prisons, a world where the lines between punishment and privilege become blurred. Is it right for some inmates to enjoy lavish lifestyles while others languish in squalor? Is a focus on rehabilitation and humane treatment a sign of progress or a misguided attempt at leniency? The debate rages on with no easy answers. One thing's for sure, the very existence of luxury prisons forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about justice, equality, and the power of wealth and influence. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating content. See you next time.